Today's story is Seymour in Michigan, Settling into Camp, written by Carol Craven Bates and illustrated by Kari Wimsatt. If you would like a copy of this book, there's a link for it in the description. Chapter 8. The first thing you would notice if you pulled into Camp Hosanna would be the big rainbow arch sign over the driveway with the camp name painted on it in large, bold letters. As you proceeded, you'd see a beautiful wooded area on the left with a massive spring-fed lake right in the center. To your right would be a large open space with a small wooden platform, and just beyond that would be a circle of rocks where the campfires are ablaze every night. As you continued down the dirt drive on your right, you'd see the boys' and girls' bathhouses along with the Olympic-sized swimming pool. Across from the pool would be the cafeteria's location, with the cabins for the girls on one side and the boys' cabins on the other. Early Monday morning on the first day of camp, the kitchen staff, Debbie, Frances, Gloria, Nellie, and Ruby, made their way to the cafeteria to start baking and preparing for the noon and evening meals. The menus had carefully been chosen weeks before, and now it was just a matter of putting the plan into action. The campers would be arriving over the next couple of hours, and by lunchtime they would be hungry and ready to eat. The minute the First Lady stepped through the threshold of the door, she knew something was cooking. There was a distinct aroma coming from the kitchen area in the back. It wasn't a pleasant smell, but more of a foul odor. After all 5 of them were inside, Frances whispered, "Oh my, what is that dreadful smell?" Nellie, the cook with the most seniority, took charge immediately. "I don't know, but I'm sure going to find out. No one is even supposed to be in here right now." As the group of ladies rounded the corner of the buffet counter, they had a clear view of the kitchen ahead. There was Seymour standing on a chair, stirring a large simmering pot. The women all screamed at the unbelievable sight. They were shocked to see a fuzzy blue dinosaur standing before them. Fear gripped their hearts, but they were frozen to the spot, too afraid to run away. Nellie gasped as she tried to speak. "Shoo! Get out of here, you little pest! Go back to the forest or wherever it is you came from!" All that screaming frightened Seymour so much he almost fell off his chair. "Phew, you scared me all the way down to my toes. I didn't know anyone was behind me." When the Smatosaurus finally recovered, he smiled and said, "You're just in time to have some savory stew." Nellie tried to appear brave as she fanned her face with her hand to try and get some air. In a trembling voice, she asked, "Who are you, and what are you doing in our kitchen?" "I'm Seymour, and I've been invited to spend the next 6 weeks at camp. I'm glad to see that everyone is finally getting here." That's when the reality struck the 5 cooks, and they realized they had just met their new campfire coach. They had forgotten that their coach this year was to be a talking dinosaur of all things. Nellie timidly walked toward the stove and peeked into the pot. There was a beef roast, a whole chicken, clumps of hamburger meat, hot dogs, whole unpeeled carrots and potatoes, a large stalk of celery, and several other floating objects that she didn't recognize. Meanwhile, the other 4 ladies were standing back with a hand over their nose, trying not to breathe any deeper than they had to. Ruby was the next to speak. "My goodness, that stuff stinks." Gloria suggested they open all the doors and windows and air the place out. "The campers won't be able to stay in here long enough to eat unless we get that smell out of here." As Debbie walked to the nearest window, she inquired, "I wonder if we can get some fans in here." Seymour just kept right on stirring his stew like everyone was enjoying the smell and anticipating the finished product as much as he was. "Who gave you the authority to come into our kitchen, waste all this food, and create this horrendous smell? I'm the senior cook, and I've been in charge for many years. You're not going to get away with this on my watch." The Smotter grunted as he fired back, "I don't even have a watch. My authority comes from Mr. Ben, your youth minister. He told me to make myself at home, and that's exactly what I've done. Speaking of done, I believe my snack is ready. It only needs to cook long enough to blend all the flavors. Do you want some stew? I don't mind sharing." Nellie gasped, "Certainly not. I wouldn't dare taste that mess. It makes my stomach feel queasy just looking at it." "Oh, well, you know what they say, beggars go hungry, or something like that." "You get out of this kitchen right now. We have meals to prepare for the children." Okay, don't get huffy. Can I eat my snack first?" "If that's the only way to get you and that foul smell out of here, by all means, eat it up. Come on, ladies, let's go find Mr. Richards and find out the meaning of all this." By the time the cooking crew with the youth minister in tow returned to the kitchen, the smodder was gone. The huge pot was washed and returned to the cupboard. The only thing that remained was the lingering smell of the disgusting concoction that had been Seymour's snack. Ben gave a sigh of relief. "Well, ladies, I guess the problem has been resolved. Let's just be thankful there wasn't any more damage than there was. I'll have a talk with Smodder and tell him you'll be in charge of the cooking whenever camp is in session." With that said, the youth minister hurried out the door before he could be caught in the crossfire of 5 excited cooks. Seymour was found playing in the spring-fed lake in the wooded area of the camp. It had taken Ben several minutes to locate him. "Hi, Seymour. Are you enjoying yourself?" "Yes, sir, Mr. Ben. I was just swimming around thinking about the 4 times the Bible tells us that the Lord multiplied food when there were more people than enough chow to go around." "4 times? I only remember 2. "You probably only remember the ones in the New Testament when Jesus was living here on earth. There was one time when the Lord used a little boy's lunch of 5 loaves and 2 fish to feed 5,000 men, plus women and children. When everyone was full, there were still 12 baskets of leftovers. Then there was the time when the Lord used 7 loaves and a few small fish to feed 4,000 men, plus women and children. There were 7 baskets of food left over on that occasion. We aren't told who gave the Lord their lunch on that day. We aren't told where they got all those baskets either. Wonder what they did with all them leftovers." There's also 2 times in the Old Testament days when God multiplied the food. Those are the ones you probably forgot. Remember when the Lord told the prophet Elijah to go to Zarephath? It was during the time Elijah was hiding from King Ahab, and the ravens were bringing him bread and meat twice a day, and he was drinking out of a little stream nearby. When the stream dried up, the Lord told him to go to Zarephath, where he would find a widow woman that would take over feeding him. When Elijah found her, the lady and her son were about to starve to death. She was gathering sticks to fix the last of their food. The prophet told her if she would give him something to eat first, the rest of her oil and meal wouldn't run out until the drought was over. The lady thought about it for a minute and decided she would test him on that. She figured she didn't have much to lose because she only had 1 more helping of food between her and starvation anyway. She gave the prophet the first portion of what she fixed, and sure enough, her meal and oil didn't run out. The Lord multiplied what she had, and it lasted for 3 years until the drought was over and crops were growing again. Much later, the prophet Elisha needed help making his food stretch to feed the sons of the prophets. There were 100 men in that group. There was another drought going on and chow was scarce again. One day a man brought an offering to give to the prophet from some of the things he had harvested. He gave Elisha some fresh corn and 20 loaves of barley bread. The prophet was thrilled to receive any victuals he could get. He told his servant to put it out for the people because they were hungry. His servant questioned how that little bit of grub would feed 100 hungry guys, so he hesitated. Elisha instructed him again to put the food out because the Lord had told him there would be enough with some left over. That time the servant obeyed, and the Lord multiplied it just like he said he would. There were leftovers then too, but we aren't told how much there was. I wonder if they put that food in baskets. Too bad I didn't know about that. I could have taken care of all those leftovers." With a big smile on his face, Ben agreed. "Yes, you're right. I did forget about those times in the Old Testament. I bet that makes you get excited when you think about food being multiplied, doesn't it?" "It surely does. I like to think about all that yummy chow and how it just kept multiplying. I've seen times when I wished mine would multiply and not run out." Believe it or not, food isn't the only thing that gets me excited. I'm also excited because today is the first day of camp, and soon this place will be filled up with campers. This is going to be a fun 6 weeks. "That's right, pal. I'm glad you're here to help us with everything. But before the children arrive, there's something I need to talk to you about. I want to talk to you guy to guy. As long as you've been around, I'm sure you've realized that ladies can have a different reaction to things than us guys." "Yeah, I know what you're talking about. They're really nice, but sometimes I can't figure them out at all." That's it in a nutshell. There's something I want you to do for me, if you will. Please let the ladies enjoy their kitchen and do all the cooking while we're at camp. They get pretty steamed up if anyone gets in their territory. Will you do that for me, pal? "Sure, Mr. Ben. I'll let the ladies do the cooking and I'll do the eating." Wonderful. I knew you would understand. Now let's go see if any of the children have arrived.